Hi guys and welcome to this video. This is Rianne and today I'm going to be making like a stuffed dragon toy. Um, I decided I wanted to do this because I kept seeing a fabric that I thought would work really well for it at Hobby Lobby. So I bought some of the fabric and I ended up buying I think I ended up with more like a yard and a half too much. I only ended up needing about half a yard, but I got 2 yards. Anyway, so I actually freehanded the pattern, just kind of drawing it out what I thought the shapes would need to be, and it worked just fine. Um, so I have the longest piece is for the body, two different patterns for the legs, one for the front legs and one for the back legs, and then 3 pieces for the pattern of the head. And I ended up having to remake the pattern for the head because it was too small the first time. But I cut those all out and marked them so I would remember which pieces I needed 2 of or 4 of or whatever for each thing. And then I went ahead and cut them out. I started with the head, and like I said, I actually ended up making the first one too small. But I did not video making the head when I made it the correct size. So it's the same steps as here where you see me tracing the pattern and um, all of that, but bigger. So the side panels on the head, I flipped it over backwards um, for one side and then did it forward the other, like right side up for the other side. And then I had a panel for the top and the bottom and just stitched those all together in order so that it made this really cute headpiece. Next, I started working on the body, and you'll see that I have it marked on the pattern that I need 3 of these. So that's just 3 of the exact same pieces, just tracing them, not flipping them over so that they're backwards or anything like that, all just exactly the same piece. And I forgot to mention when I was talking about the pattern for the head, the patterns themselves, I ended up deciding would be the size of it without seam allowance. So I was tracing with a little bit of extra room around the edges to add seam allowance. And then I just cut it out and stitch everything together around the edges. And when I'm stitching the body together, I actually made sure to leave one side open because I was going to add a pocket with a zipper in order to add like a bean bag that could be heated up in the microwave in order to make it warm. Here I am adding the pocket. I just cut out a shape that looked to be about the right size to fit inside the body of the dragon and hold the egg shape that I would end up making for the largest beanbag. I also, when I was stuffing the dragon, I put a beanbag, like a little beanbag, in each of its legs. I put 2 different ones in the length of its tail, and there's one in its head. And then the largest one is the one that you can take out and put in the microwave, that goes inside the largest section of its body inside this pocket. So here I am attaching the head. I wasn't sure how to do this with the machine, so I did it by hand in order to make a seam that you wouldn't be able to see any of the raw edges on. and I just stitched all the way around, back and forth between each side of the seam, so into the head and then into the body, and then just stitching all the way around. And I actually did a lot of hand stitching, and this is the only one that I actually recorded. I hand sewed I stitched it on by hand for the legs. All of the legs were sewn closed by hand and then sewn on by hand. Attached the horns by hand. So lots of hand stitching for this. Once I started working on the legs, I had to do it twice. So flip it over backwards and make two, and then do it forwards or front facing twice, and then cut out. So there ends up being 4 pieces, and 2 of the pieces get sewn together to make one leg, and then the other 2 pieces get sewn together to make the other leg, and then stuff it and add the little beanbag and stuff it some more and sew it closed by hand. And then attach it by hand as well. Same thing with the back legs, tracing it out both ways and cutting out all 4 pieces. 2 of the pieces go together and make one leg, and the other 2 make the other leg, and stuff them with the stuffing and the beanbag, and then attach them. To make the horns, I made this little square, and then I cut it into these triangles and stitched them down to make these little cones, cutting off the excess and then stuffing them so that they were full instead of just kind of floppy and flat, and then attached them by hand. And then I attached the eyes, just some buttons. And then you see this large needle that I actually used. It's a doll needle, and I stitched all the way through the head from one eye to the other to help them sink in and actually look correct. And then I made the egg, super simple, and then filled it with rice and closed it. And so it's just this really big egg-shaped beanbag, and it goes inside and then zips closed and adds a bunch of mass into the body. Once I started on the wings, I kind of just freehanded the shape and cut it out, and then I used the length of my finger to measure this strip to go around the edge of the wing, and then stitched it on and carefully stuffed it with the stuffing, which was highly annoying. I ended up not doing that for the second one. And I did make a second one in black. My parents bought it from me for my little brother. So this is my little sister modeling the dragon, which has been lovingly named Snow. And then the black one that I made for my brother was lovingly named Cosmic. And he absolutely adored it when he opened it. And he keeps sleeping with it, and he's enjoyed it. He brought it to church to show it off and got lots of compliments, carried it around. It's been one of his favorite things ever since he got it, and it makes me so happy to know that he enjoys it after all the hard work I put into making it. Love you, buddy. Happy birthday. Thank you so much for watching. Feel free to leave a comment or any suggestions you may have. We'll see you next time.